Have you heard of the 24/30 rule? It's a simple guideline that can help us make better financial decisions in the moment. And this is a rule that I wish my parents followed, but we didn't. And so today, we're going to talk about what it is, why it is a useful rule to have, how it can improve your life, and also share with you some of the ways that you can start following it yourself. But before we do all of that, I'd really appreciate if you could hit that like button. Alright, let's get into it. So first things first, what exactly is the 24/30 rule? Well, in simple terms, the 24/30 rule states that if an item costs less than $24, you should just go ahead and buy it. You don't need to think too much about it. If an item costs more than $24, then you should follow the 30-day rule. So before you buy it, you should wait for 30 days. After 30 days, if you still want it and need it, then you can go ahead and buy it. But what is interesting about the 24/30 rule is that it doesn't only apply to material things. For example, if your phone bill was $24 a month, then you wouldn't think twice about paying it. On the other hand, if you saw a handbag that costs $300, you might think twice about buying it right away. You might wait a day or two or even longer before making a decision. In fact, you might end up not buying it at all. However, the same logic applies to non-materialistic things as well. So if you were thinking of going out with friends, which would cost around $24, then according to the 24/30 rule, you should go ahead and do it. But if you were planning to go on a trip to Hawaii, which would cost way more than $24, then you should wait for 30 days. Then, after 30 days, if you still want to go there, then you can go ahead and book the trip. Okay, great. Now you know what the 24/30 rule is, but what's the point of it all? Why should you follow the 24/30 rule? Well, one of the biggest advantages of the 24/30 rule is that it helps you save money. By waiting 30 days before making a big purchase, you will likely find cheaper alternatives or realize that you don't actually need the item at all. According to studies, when people were asked if they would be willing to pay $20 for a chocolate bar, only 3% of people agreed. However, when they were asked if they would be willing to pay $20 for a chocolate bar after waiting 30 days, 68% of people agreed. So yeah, sometimes waiting really can help us save a lot of money. Another advantage of the 24/30 rule is that it helps you avoid impulse purchases. We've all been there before. You walk into a store looking for something specific, but you end up leaving with way more than you intended to buy. According to statistics, the average person spends $420 a year on impulse purchases. That's a lot of money. The 24/30 rule can help you avoid impulse purchases by forcing you to wait before making a purchase. This will give you time to consider whether you really need the item and help you stick to your budget. A third advantage of the 24/30 rule is that it helps you build self-control. Self-control is an important skill that we can all benefit from improving. The 24/30 rule can help you practice self-control by forcing you to wait before giving into temptation. When you successfully resist the urge to buy something that you don't need, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment that will motivate you to continue practicing self-control in other areas of your life. Fourth, the 24/30 rule can help you avoid debt. We live in a society where it's easy to buy things on credit. However, this can lead to a lot of debt, which can be difficult to escape. The 24/30 rule can help you avoid debt by forcing you to wait before making a purchase. This will give you time to save up for the item instead of putting it on a credit card. Fifth, the 24/30 rule can help you avoid lifestyle inflation. As our income increases, it's natural to want to spend more money. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it can be a major obstacle to financial success. The 24/30 rule can help you avoid lifestyle inflation by forcing you to wait before making a big purchase. This will give you time to consider whether you really need the item and help you stay within your budget. And finally, the 24/30 rule can help you become financially free. Financial freedom is the ability to live life on your own terms without being constrained by money. The 24/30 rule can help you achieve financial freedom by helping you save money, avoid debt, and avoid lifestyle inflation. By following these simple guidelines, you can take control of your finances and live the life that you want. Now that you understand the advantages of the 24/30 rule, let's discuss how you can start following it yourself. First, you need to determine what you need and what you want. This may seem like a simple distinction to make, but it's important to remember that needs should come before wants. Once you've determined what you need, set a budget for each category of expenses. This will help you track your spending and ensure that you're staying within your means. Next, you need to identify your spending triggers. These are the things that cause you to spend money impulsively. Common spending triggers include stress, boredom, and loneliness. Once you've identified your spending triggers, develop a plan to avoid them. This may include taking a break, going for a walk, or talking to a friend. Now let's talk about an emergency fund. An emergency fund is a sum of money that you set aside for unexpected expenses. Having an emergency fund is important because it can help you avoid going into debt when unexpected expenses arise. A good rule of thumb is to have 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses saved in an emergency fund. So if you're someone who doesn't have an emergency fund yet, then the 24/30 rule can be a great way to start. Just start by saving $24 a month and work your way up from there. In addition to building an emergency fund, the 24/30 rule can also help you save for other financial goals, such as buying a car or a house. For example, if you're saving up for a down payment on a house, you could set a goal of saving $24 a month towards your down payment. Then use the 30-day rule to make sure that any big purchases that you make are contributing to your financial goals. However, despite all the benefits of the 24/30 rule, there are a few potential downsides to consider. The first potential downside of the 24/30 rule is that it can be difficult to wait 30 days before making a purchase. This can be especially challenging if you're trying to save for a big purchase, such as a new car or a house. However, if you really want to save money and practice self-control, then it's important to stick to the 30-day rule. Another potential downside of the 24/30 rule is that it can be difficult to track your spending. If you don't keep track of your spending, it's easy to overspend and not realize it until it's too late. However, there are many apps and tools available to help you track your spending. So don't use this as an excuse not to follow the 24/30 rule. Finally, a potential downside of the 24/30 rule is that it can be difficult to stick to your budget when you are out with friends. If your friends are constantly trying to buy you drinks or food, it can be tough to say no. However, it's important to stick to your budget if you want to reach your financial goals. So in conclusion, the 24/30 rule is a simple but effective way to help you save money, avoid impulse purchases, build self-control, avoid debt, and achieve financial freedom. While there are potential downsides to consider, the benefits of the 24/30 rule outweigh the drawbacks. If you're struggling to follow the 24/30 rule, don't get discouraged. Just keep practicing and eventually it will become second nature. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the 24/30 rule is helpful? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching, and until next time, all the best.